what's up everybody? Legend and Molly coming at you from Six Flags St. Louis here in the Midwest for a little weekend. And we're going to show you all around the park today. Show you all the roller coasters, the rides, anything we find interesting. You come in the park and they're actually greeted with this pretty nice Main Street type area. You've got a candy shop over there to the left, a big gift shop up front, and this wonderful fountain. I love this fountain. It's got the old park's logo on it and the old name. It's kind of cool. And let's go check out this park. Let's check out Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. First of all, great signage here. I love the giant cartoony entrance through the snow cone guy. So I love the station here on Mr. Freeze. First of all, it's a shuttle coaster that has two different loading areas and this unique system where the train slides over into the launch position, connects to the regular track, and then launches out backwards. So here's the course of Mr. Freeze. Launches out backwards, goes to that big top-hatted version. Then this giant overbank here. And then up the big old spike. Those are actually LIM boosters to help the car go farther up the spike and then launch it down. Then you go through the whole course forwards. Back through the big inversion. And you finish up. Guys, one thing I would recommend, if you can get in the front row, it is an amazing view getting launched out backwards and seeing that track in front of you. Definitely, if you get the chance to ride front row on this ride, you got to do it. Also, this is one you want to hit early, as if it's not running that second station, it could get to be a very long, very slow line. So this is definitely one you would want to hit earlier in the day. Kind of unique, big entrance side here for American Thunder. Here's American Thunder. Probably the park's best roller coaster, built by the guys over at GCI, our buddy Adam House involved with the project. And this ride's great. It's really, really smooth. It's fast, good airtime. Just rode in the front row, got some great views. Big thumbs up to this one. It's very, very re-rideable. You can ride this all day long if you wanted to. Super fun, lots of curves. If you're a big fan of curves and stuff like that, this ride's got you covered. And just a good time, so check out American Thunder when you're here. Do not miss American Thunder. So when American Thunder first opened, it was themed towards Evel Knievel, and this would all give you stats all about Evel Knievel's career. Now it's all, it's got no theme, as it's just called American Thunder, but this gives you all sorts of stats about historical roller coasters, so that's kind of cool, especially for a big dork like me. That is a sign you never want to see at a theme park.
Not once, not twice.
Thankfully, there's really no crowds today. I mean, we got on the ride in the front row within like a 5-10 minute wait. But at least they have a sign to let you know. Inside the Hall of Justice is the Justice League Battle for Metropolis attraction. It's a 3D interactive shooting ride built by Sally Corp, and it's really, really good. It blends practical sets with 3D screens with fog effects. There's a great animatronic of the Joker in there on an ATV. There's smoke and fire. It's a really cool ride. It's honestly not something you would expect to see in a local park. It's more along the lines of something you would find in a the lower end of Disney and Universal. Like for me, I like Justice League a whole lot more than I like some of the stuff Universal's done lately with Jimmy Fallon and the new Fast and the Furious ride. I think Justice League is far superior than both of those. So I like this one. Also, good tip here is that they do have a single rider entrance. So that's good if you don't mind not riding with your buddies. Also, it's inside, as it does get very hot here in this park, and your air-conditioned queue really help out on those hot summer days. Do love that in the queue for Justice League, you have this awesome cyborg animatronic as it sort of sets the story. There's a couple different TV shows along the queue, and then a giant one here. Yep, and Cyber talks too. So here's a shot of what the ride vehicles look like for the Justice League ride. Very similar to like a Spider-Man at Universal. So this is Pandemonium, the park's spinning coaster, formerly known as Tony Hawk's Big Spin. Really fun ride. It's a model you've seen at a bunch of parks. Mall of America has one, a couple other parks have one, but they're really fun rides. We'll say, again, this is one that does not have a great throughput and capacity. Also more of a family ride, so one you'll want to hit earlier in the day. And depending on how you're weighted, you may spin a lot, you may spin a little. Now, when it comes to roller coasters with great entrances, you gotta have the Boss on that list because it's pretty impressive. So the Boss is a big, giant wooden coaster that takes up a big chunk in the back of the park. And it was something I thought was like, oh man, this ride's gonna beat you up. I got a reputation for being rough, but we rode in the front row earlier today. Actually, it was running really, really well. I thought it was gonna beat us up. Thought Molly was gonna be mad that I made her go on it. Not the case. It was actually pretty fun. In the front row, you get some really great views too as it flies through the structure and things like that. Now, obviously, one thing when you're talking about Six Flags and the recent history of Six Flags is they've been known to RMC some of their older wooden roller coasters, which is taking them down and putting steel track in them and adding inversions and crazy airtime. And I mean, I don't think there's a coaster anywhere in the chain, except for maybe Monster up at La Ronde, that I would want to see them RMC more so than the Boss. I mean, the Boss, you know, it's an okay ride. It's fine. But man, if this thing would get RMC'd, it could be, you know, top 10 coaster in the country, I think. So a big change happened this off season on the Boss is they got rid of the Helix. As you can see, like the old wood from the old Helix still there, and then you can see like brand new wood. They got rid of the Helix and just made a new 270-degree finale. It was fine. I assume the Helix was probably a maintenance issue, and that's why it's gone. The new section of the track was nothing particularly exciting or unexciting, but I feel like it's going to help prolong the life of this ride by getting rid of that thing. Also weird that the two Missouri parks in the same season did something very similar, as Timberwolf over at Worlds of Fun did pretty much the same exact thing, getting rid of Helix and adding just a bank. So crazy that two parks in somewhat of a competing market made just about the same exact change. Without a doubt, in my mind, the scariest ride in the park is the SkyScreamer. One of these big mega swing rides, not one of the larger models. This model, it goes 236 feet in the air, but you're just in that little tiny chair and you're swinging and there's nothing but chains and 2 seat belts. So in my mind, that is absolutely terrifying. Great view from up there. And this is also, it's 236 feet, but you're also on the hill in the back of the park. So the view you get, it's really, really wonderful. Great view. But if you're not okay with heights, I'm fine with heights, but I still just, freaks me out. One of the oldest rides in the park is the River King Mine Train. Another one that's also kind of hard to film as it's off in its own corner, but a 3-lift old school mine train roller coaster. You know, not good, not bad. A good family ride. I like how it ends with a drop through a tunnel. And can't really get too many shots of it because it's off in the woods over there. If you've ever been to a Six Flags park, well, you've probably been on a Batman the Ride, and Six Flags St. Louis has one. You know, really kind of a standard in these parks, but also, I mean, it's a good ride. It's a very solid, compact, forceful layout. Packs 5 inversions into a very tight area. Love the 0G roll. There we go. It's gonna pop up over those trees to do another loop. Really fun ride. Also, one thing about the one here at Six Flags St. Louis, the queue is massive. Like, by the time you actually get to the ride, you probably walked a good 6-7 minutes. It took a while to get back there, but the ride is good. I mean, if you've been on one Batman, you've been on them all, but you know, it's a good time. Also, earlier in the year, they ran it backwards. It ran backwards from park opening in March until May 13th. So sometimes in the off season, they'll run that kind of promotion to get people in. And that is, it's a thing. Yeah, I didn't mind it. Drew the Intern, it almost killed him, but I had fun. So one of the more unique rides here at the park, they have a dual track log flume. Now, a lot of log flumes you'll see will have like 2 different drops. This one has 2 different complete tracks. So it's log flume A is completely different from log flume B, which is really, really interesting. They're only running one side today, but I just find that, you know, very unique. That's definitely something you don't see the parks do a lot. Also, you can tell it's an older ride, and but still, log flumes are a good time. Hopefully I get to go on the log flume. Somebody doesn't want to go on the log flume. That's somebody's Molly. You get this one, oh my gosh, look at this! And there's like a big Canadian goose just yelling at the log flume all day because she's got eggs to protect. How cool is that?
A ball and someone lost the ball.
Yeah, somebody lost a ball, but look, look at the eggs.
See that?
Now, does this goose just sit there and angrily yell at logs all day long?
Apparently.
That'll be a tough life. Six Flags St. Louis is home to a big old train. There's one stop up near the front of the park and then one stop in the back of the park. And very traditional, very Magic Kingdom-esque kind of train they have. Today we're running it's in early May, so unfortunately they're only running one locomotive. So if you miss it, you're gonna have to wait quite a while. And guys, it gets even better. Wait for it, wait for it. Train's even got a caboose. Check it out. And as the water fills up the ride platform, the Tsunami Soaker is getting ready to go. I believe how this ride works, I think the whole ride lowers down onto the water level. And this ride, it's kind of neat. It's one of the more modern flat rides here at Six Flags St. Louis. And I need to do my best to try and stay away from it. Essentially, it's kind of a scrambler with water guns where you as the rider can shoot other riders, or you could come over here and just wander up and sort of engage in a war of water between guests on the pathway and guests on the ride. This is one you could get pretty wet on, so if you got your valuables, you might not want to take them on. But it's definitely fun. I love the interactivity. I also love that for so many years there's only been a couple of water rides with you know, your log flume and your river rapids and tidal wave. So I like to see innovation in that thing, and this is definitely an innovative ride. Not one you see at a lot of parks either. I know that there's one here at Six Flags St. Louis, and I know there's one at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. So it's also a ride you won't find everywhere, and it's got an adorable pelican as its mascot that slowly spins in the middle. Again, this is not a ride about spinning. It spins very, very, very slowly, but it's more about the interactivity with the guns and the water gun features. Another one of the more modern flat rides here at the park is Spin Sanity, which is a Zamperla disco located near the front of the park. And I bet this thing looks really, really cool at night. It's got a whole bunch of fun LED type lights on it. And these rides are a good time anyway. If you don't mind spinning, they're actually a pretty solid modern flat ride. You get that right rotation where your disc is spinning and you're going down. Gives you a really, really fun time. Also, again, it's another ride with great placement, as this one in a very tiny spot between whatever this building is and the railroad. So there's not a whole lot you can put there, but obviously a disco fits perfectly. And really fun. So if you like the spinning rides, give this one a try. The most recent roller coaster added here to Six Flags St. Louis, and also one of the worst rides in the park, is the Boomerang. You've probably been on one of these before. Goes through once forwards, through a vertical loop right there, and then you're going to go up the spike, and it's going to drop you down backwards. Now I'm going to try and do two things at once here because a lot of one-train ops. So the Boomerang's going to go backwards, and where the Boomerang rides get even more nauseating. But up next is the Screamin' Eagle. Now I want to talk about the Screamin' Eagle as that goes down over here. Screamin' Eagle is it's a hard ride to photograph because it's really in the back of the park around nothing else. But it's probably the park's most classic roller coaster, either that or the Mine Train, and it's a fun ride. Pretty smooth, not really, I didn't really get any good airtime, but a very pretty and smooth ride, and especially for a ride of its age, I'm sure this was built in the 70s or 80s, it still gives a good ride. So check out the Screamin' Eagle. Definitely check out the Screamin' Eagle. Might want to skip the Boomerang. So the empty cars is really short. The ride's like a minute and a half, so if there's a line, I would definitely skip it. So I'm not somebody that finds carousels overly interesting at parks, but dude, check out the chariot bench thing they've got there. That's pretty sweet. Bugs Bunny's National Park is the kids area. Not particularly impressive, probably about 7 to 10 rides. And part of it's like up a hill too, so that's kind of odd. But if you got the little ones, this is probably where you want to head. I do love the design of the Taz Twister little kids teacup ride here in Bugs Bunny's National Park. Looney Tunes National Park. I mean, that's a really well-designed ride. In the Bugs Bunny section, I love this playground. I think it's a good idea to build something like this, give the kids a place to go and run off some steam. Also, pretty good-sized rides. The Superman Tower of Power is the park's drop tower. Old first-generation Inman Tower. And it's up on the hill in the back of the park too, so it feels a lot taller up than it actually is. So if you're a fan of drop rides, give it a whirl. Get a cool view from the top. Larry! Here we got a Larry Larson looper called the Fireball. And if you're a fan of these at your local traveling fair, well, Six Flags has it too. We'll say I love the design on the cars. Like, I would say it's one of the prettier Larson loopers. With kind of on theme. Also in a great use of space. They really squeezed this thing in where you really could not put much else. So good use of space by Six Flags. That roller coaster going now is the Ninja, one of the park's looping roller coasters, and it's also not very good. It's one of your classic head-banging looping style roller coasters. One thing about this ride, it has a really, really weird layout. It's very, very high up in the air, and with very few low moments. It loops you upside down about 4 times, I think, and it's just a very bizarre layout if you've been on a lot of roller coasters. Also, the ride's got an interesting history. I believe it came from like a World's Fair kind of thing in Canada before it was here at Six Flags St. Louis. Would love to see them do what they did to Ninja at Six Flags Over Georgia, where they add new restraints, update the ride a little bit, because I think with this ride with those vest restraints that Blue Hawk has at Over Georgia, it'd be a much better ride. Joker Inc. is the park's swinging ship ride, and you enter through this crazy Joker mouth, and then behind it is a swinging ship that just really is pretty much your standard swinging ship, except there are large letters that say "ha ha" on it. Not a particularly good swinging ship, kind of old, very, you don't really get a lot of that, what we like to call the coaster balls feeling, is not really something you get here. Feels old, but good for a park to have a swinging ship. I do enjoy those kind of rides. New for 2018 at Six Flags St. Louis is the Typhoon Twister, a big old, it's a bowl wave wall tool water slide. They're being built right over there. In Hurricane Harbor, we didn't really talk about Hurricane Harbor because it's not open during our visit, but it's their free water park tornado slide. They've got some mat slides. They've got actually a wave pool with a volcano at the end of it that they built before Universal made it cool, and some drop box slides are right over there. So if you're a water park person, include it with your admission. Colossus is the park's Ferris wheel, and it's awesome. It's actually one of the tallest Ferris wheels that you'll find in like a normal North American theme park. Obviously, there's a lot bigger ones, you know, like with the High Roller in Vegas and the Orlando Eye, now the Orlando Icon. But as far as, you know, in the theme park, it's one of the bigger ones you'll find. Again, closed today. I think it's still got a while to recover from off-season maintenance, and it's pretty old. Then I got to point this out, because I've loved how many ducks, big old Canadian geese kind of things this park has. That duck has like the coolest spot in the park. So earlier in this park's generations, it was really more dedicated to the highly themed areas. As you can see, what's the entrance to the Britannia center of the park, and you can see like, all right, there's a solid theme here, Friar Tuck's turkey legs, and then boom, pandemonium, because nothing says medieval times like the former Tony Hawk ride. Gotta say, really no surprise here. So Excalibur here might be like my white whale of theme park rides. This is a ride that opened in Great Adventure in like 1999 during their War on Lines, a war which Six Flags quickly surrendered a few years later. And I was an annual pass member for years at that park, never rode it. Been to this park here twice since Excalibur's been here, never rode it. This thing must never run. Obviously, it's got some very, very refurbishment going on right now. There's not even ride vehicles on there. But the ride itself is pretty nuts. You ride in outside seating chairs here. I think it's 4-person each bench area. And then it rotates, and then the arm slowly does one big revolution. It takes about 100 feet in the air. So when it's running, it's crazy, it's wacky. It's the only ride like it in the United States, but it rarely works. One thing about Six Flags, they always find ways to innovate the industry. And right now they're doing, one of the things that is new to me is that they're selling a Games Play Pass. So you get $50 worth of games for only 20 bucks. And this is a park with a ton of games. Now for me, I'm very unlikely to pay a game for $5. But with such a great value like that, I don't have any room in my luggage, so I'm not going to play any games. But if I was at the park on a normal day, I very well might, you know, hop on that $20. Because playing Midway Games is fun. And with a good value proposition in there too, definitely tempting. Well, I found the crappiest game in the park. You get it, because toilets when Santa poops. In the back right corner of the park is Tidal Wave, which is a big traditional shoot the chutes ride. You're in one of these giant boats. You go up the lift, you go around the corner, you come down, you create a giant wave, you get completely soaked. You've been on one of them, you know the deal. Not a water ride guy, so not a big ride that I'm a fan of. But obviously people do enjoy that kind of thing. We're here early in the season, so not something that's open right now. Also, while we're over here, going to get a shot of Superman, the drop tower. And almost there. Yep, they are all the way at the top. getting ready to go. Man, they held you up there for a while. Oh, and there you go. Drop like a rock. Six Flags St. Louis is one of the prettier Six Flags parks. Lots of big trees. It's built on a hill. It's got a whole bunch of different rivers and fountains and things like that. So normally you don't think of Six Flags parks as pretty, but this one I think would qualify as that, or at least you know, one of the prettier ones. You know, it's not one of the prettiest theme parks I've ever been to by any means, but it's very pretty for Six Flags. Another area with a really cool fountain overflowing on boxes and then leading into a waterfall kind of thing. You know, it's definitely one of the prettier Six Flags. Hey Molly, what time is it?
Beer 30?
Beer 30, yes!
Found
We found the beer, the one bar that was open. It's actually pretty cool. It's I forgot the name of it, but it's honestly, it's kind of crazy. The only place you can get a beer in the park is right outside of Bugs Bunny Land. They got 4 taps over here, so it's Goose IPA, Stella Artois, Shock Top, and Bud Light, running for the low cost of $12 for this beer.
It's a steal.
Oh, it's a steal. It does come in a nice cup, though. I mean, this is a cup you could take home if you wanted to and drink out of at your home. It's a nice hard plastic souvenir cup. And 22 ounces of beer, so it's a decent sized beer as well. I wish they had more local craft beer than, you know, kind of a standard selection. But
they don't have beer jail either.
They don't have beer jail. You can't take your beer. There's signs everywhere that says you cannot take your beer in lines or in exits. Like right there. Like you can't leave with your beer and you can't get in line for something. But you can, if you want to wander around Bugs Bunny Land right next door, perfectly okay. Anyway, beer 30, good times. So the name I couldn't remember was Foul Ball Sports Bar and Grill. Also, like right behind me is the Lost Parents Shack, and I like it because they have the giant figure of Mortimer, the big red giant from Looney Tunes, who looks great, and a not so great looking figure of Taz. So I always find parks history and things like that kind of interesting, and they've got just an empty line and no ride. But they have this cool sign telling you what used to be here, and it's the Highland Fling, the future site of innovation. After 40 years and 18.2 million rides, it's been retired. So I think it's kind of a neat sign to have there. They could have very easily just been like, had no sign there and a rope up, but I like to put that out. And that's where it used to be. You can tell it's got a theme park classic feel here at Six Flags St. Louis, as I've got not one, but 2 of these big old ivy tunnels. So much like Disney World and Disneyland, Six Flags has gotten into the theme popcorn bucket game. You've got Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. Also, I do recommend doing the drink refill bottle. You could bring your drink bottle in all the lines, so there's always cup holders right by the roller coasters, and you get your choice of doing a one-day refill for $16.99 if you buy one, or one that's good all season long for $25.99. And if you got a membership plan, the all-season one drops down to like $21 in price. We bought one of those earlier. It's actually a pretty snazzy bottle there for my buddy DrewTheIntern. He'll like that. Not running yet for the season is Miss Kitty's Saloon, which I guess they have like an old-timey saloon show in. Interesting. I like parks that have something like that. And it's warm here in St. Louis, man, so I could definitely love to go inside, maybe get a beer. I don't know if they have beer in there or not, but at least go somewhere inside, sit down in air conditioning. It does help to be a Six Flags member here, as there is no line at the membership, and the regular guest line stretches all the way back there. So if you're a member, nice perk. So in the Gotham City section of the park, they actually have a pretty decent-sized arcade with a lot of modern games, and it's a redemption arcade too, so you can play games for tickets. You can play some of my favorites like Wizard of Oz, and then go over there and win all sorts of prizes. So I always love when a park has a good arcade. So towards the front of the park, you've also got this kind of a pop culture store, and it's got a very interesting selection of stuff, from like modern stuff to not modern stuff, superhero stuff to stuff that has nothing to do with Six Flags, or like Pokemon, Power Rangers, taking a selfie. It's interesting. For me, like, I love this. I could totally see myself wearing that Ace Ventura Pet Detective shirt. And then weird stuff, like I don't think too many people are buying the old Vote for Pedro shirt nowadays, but definitely a store that's worth checking out. Thunder River is the park river rapids ride, and we're early in the season, so it's yet to open, but I love how simple these rides are. You see, it's these logs here. That's what causes the rapids on the ride. It's just flowing water over those logs causes your little boat to go up and down so wildly. I think that's kind of neat. If you're a fan of river rapids ride, it looks like a decently long one. It goes all the way around the island created by Mr. Freeze here. So there's the River Rapids ride. Can't give you a review because I did not ride it. Like quite a few of the Six Flags parks, they have a Moose Burger Lodge. It's one of their quick service dining establishments. Actually kind of a nice, somewhat themed restaurant. You've got a family of mooses on the wall. And then it's got this kind of theming. I love these chairs over here. And they also got Coca-Cola freestyle machines for your souvenir cup. Shazam! Yeah, we will not be riding Shazam today. It does have a hilarious name. Obviously, it's a park scrambler attraction. Still down for winter maintenance. Probably wouldn't have rode it anyway, but do like the fun name. And that'll do it for our time here at Six Flags St. Louis. Overall, I had a really fun day today. You know, we were here on a good day. There was really no lines for anything. We didn't wait more than 15 or 20 minutes. Rode a couple things twice. Rode a front row of a lot of rides. So I had a wonderful time. A couple things I would say, this park is it's one of the prettier Six Flags parks. You know, I like the hills, I like the trees, and also their staff and crew were really, really good. And that is something I can't remember on any video saying about Six Flags. You know, you saw managers and leads everywhere. You didn't see any lazy employees. It was shocking, really. And this isn't like the first week of the season. That's something you would normally see on like opening weekend. But we're a good 2 months into the season here, so I mean that was a big plus up for them. As far as the rides go, by far my favorite rides in the park are American Thunder, the Adam House GCI wooden roller coaster, as well as the Justice League Battle for Metropolis. Those two are my favorite. Probably a close third would be the Mr. Freeze. And I had fun. You know, it's not one of the best Six Flags parks, not by any means. You know, most of the other ones have, many more roller coasters. It's also, I don't think it's quite a full day park either. Like, if I was not filming for In the Loop, I probably would have been here for about 3.5 hours.
But the crowds, there was no crowds.
Help, yeah.
That's the problem. It could have been a full day if there was crowds.
Exactly. Now, Molly, you're not as the big hardcore theme park coaster guy that I am. You've never been here before. What were some of your thoughts on the park?
I thought it was like your middle of the range Six Flags. It's not your best, it's not your worst.
See, that's way above me. Like for me, this is bottom of the barrel. Like this is up there with America's the worst Six Flags. Not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but I still had a good time.
You rate it with all the coasters and all the rides. I take into consideration it was a very clean park. It has the
that
best
is true.
employees.
Again, that is something I didn't think about. But you look around everywhere, no trash. We did have some Six Flags type problems. We had a lot of rides down, but that's what I expected coming on a Wednesday in May. Yeah. I came in expecting that. Yeah.
Overall, I think it has a very standard roller coaster collection. Nothing that stands out.
Yeah. There's no e-ticket there.
Yeah.
There's no that unique ride where you said like, oh man, I've got to come to Six Flags St. Louis and I've got to ride that. As much as I love American Thunder, it's not a book a plane ticket kind of ride. But Six Flags, if you're listening, you could do that. Mr. Boss over there could get RMC'd and be one of the best coasters out there. Another thing I think this park could use, they need a couple more modern roller coasters. I could really see them adding one of those Joker 4D SNS Free Fly coasters, as it's a park that doesn't have a ton of room to expand, but those rides, they don't take up a lot of room, they're relatively cheap, so I could definitely see them adding one of those as well. We didn't do their water park. They do have that big water park that's included with their admission, which is, it looks like a good time, but it's not open right now. We're not big water park people anyway. We got a lot of drinking to do in the St. Louis town, so we want to get to that. And there we go. If you guys got any questions or comments about Six Flags St. Louis, let me know in the comment section below. I might know the answer and get back to you. If not, I'll do my best to try and figure it out. Thank you all for watching In the Loop. Subscribe to the Facebook page. Check out the podcast. Follow me on Twitter @InTheLoopLegend. And thanks for watching. See you guys. Guys, I can't believe during my wrap-up there that I forgot to mention the star attraction at Six Flags St. Louis, the Angry Goose by the Log Flume. Thanks for watching, everybody.